Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the window expert. I'm going to talk to you today about the 5 red flags you might see when you're trying to purchase windows, and I want to give you some ideas of how you can avoid them. So the first red flag is if they say, will all decision makers be present, people are going to make comments down below, you can go read them. They're going to go on and on about, Jeff, you don't understand, it's so important because we need to have everyone there so that everyone can have an input and a say and all that. Well, why? Why? The only reason you would need someone there to make sure everyone was there was because your intent is what? Your intent is, I'm going to sell this job today, no exceptions. In fact, in my industry, they call that buy or die, meaning you're either going to die or you're going to buy from me, but I'm not leaving your house. And that's the way they do it. So here's the problem with that. If the decision makers aren't all there, let's say that you're there, but your spouse isn't there. Now you've got an excuse. Well, I want to talk to my spouse. And they're like, dang it. We should have made sure all decision makers were there. So that's what they call a 2-legged appointment instead of a 1-legged appointment. Companies like mine don't mind running a 1-legged appointment. Now, do I prefer 2-leg appointments? Yes, but not for the purpose of twisting your arm and getting you into these windows tonight. No, it's because we value the input from both parties. But that should be something that you at least want to ask. Like maybe you ask them and you say, if my spouse can't be present, will it be okay if you guys still come out? And if they say no, we need all decision makers there, then that definitely is a red flag. I've had people tell me on my YouTube channel, and actually local right here where I'm at in Houston, I've had people tell me they came out to the house and it turns out my spouse couldn't be there after all. And you know what they said? Well, we'll come back when your spouse is here. They wouldn't even talk to me. They left. So that's a big red flag, number one. Second red flag is if they have a lack of detailed pricing. If they say 25 windows, $40,000, just write it on some kind of a note or whatever and hand it to you. Or even if they print it out. If it doesn't tell you what brand the window is, it doesn't tell you what the solar heat gain is, it doesn't tell you what the U factor is, it doesn't tell you what the visible light transmission or the air leakage ratings, what color the window is, what type of grid it is, what material it's made of, any of that information that's lacking is actually a lack of attention to detail. Can you imagine having a brain surgery and no one looked at an MRI? MRIs, that's for novice, that's for newbies. Who needs one of those? I know what I'm doing here. If they didn't go outside and actually do any kind of measurement on your windows, they're not even measuring your windows, they're just eyeballing them, come on. You're really gonna trust somebody to do that? I wouldn't. So look for a lack of details on their presentation. If there's a lack of details, there's probably gonna be a lack of details later on after you've bought windows as well, and you're not gonna like that. Oh, by the way, speaking of buying windows and finding a great window company, I started a website called thewindowexperts.com. If you live in this area, I'm going to be glad to show you around and give you a tour of my showroom and help you with your project. But if you don't live in this area, I've actually created a list of great window companies all over the country. You're going to want to go check that out, thewindowexperts.com. Number 3 out of the top 5 flags you should look for is multiple price drops. If they start at $100,000 and they go to 90, then they go to 80, then they go to 70, then they go to 60, forget it. They're not playing honest with you. They're playing with monopoly money to see how much you're willing to give. I've got a great video where I elaborate on why they do this and why it's important for you to be aware of it. I'm going to put it right here and down below, and you're going to find that that's very helpful. It's one of my most watched videos. People really like that. So be careful about that. Number 4, if they say, you know what, let me call my manager and let me see, anytime they mention the word manager should mean run for the doorager, okay? It's time to kick that guy out when he starts talking about his manager. Why would it be wrong for them to say, let me call my manager? Well, usually in my industry, when somebody says, let me call my manager, it's actually a coercive sales tactic, right? They're gonna call the manager and they might even go outside and say, call their wife. Hey, how's it going? What are we cooking for dinner? Blah, blah, blah. Then they come back in and say, I talked to my manager and he said, okay, he's got a big truck coming and he's got like 300 windows on it and there's room for 28 more windows. I see you've got 22 windows. He told me if you're willing to help me get that truck full, that's gonna save us another 10%. I'm gonna be able to knock off, click, 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 click. I'm gonna be able to knock off $4,200 on your project. But man, we gotta decide today. He just told me he was on the phone with another one of our sales reps who was actually at a house about 3 miles from here, and it looks like they were gonna sign on. So he told me to talk to you and see if you're willing to go. If you're willing to go, then let's get this done because man, let's do this, man. Let's get you on that truck. That's what you're gonna hear from him when he says something about his manager. Number 5, when they say, If I leave, this price goes with me. That's where you say, hey man, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Because that is a tactic that is trying to put fear, that's trying to coerce you. I don't mind being persuasive. I'm persuasive. I like to persuade people to do a good thing, to buy windows from me, but it's not right to be manipulative and coercive. So if you see any one of those 5, I would say punt and get out of there and start all over. Find someone who thinks the way you think. Find someone who treats you the way you'd want to be treated. Treats you with honesty, treats you with dignity, treats you with respect. When you find that company, then find out what window they've got and see if the window's a good fit for you. More important than a great window is a great window company. Trust me, I'm going to save you a lot of heartache, a lot of time if you do that. Okay, don't forget, if you live in Houston, I'd love to meet you. If you don't, check out thewindowexperts.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.